Alright folks, and welcome back. Another episode of Casting Conflicts here, and like always, of course, we're starting off with the recap. If you guys missed it, Alan was victorious over Beastly here, and unfortunately not taking number one on the leaderboard. Obviously, he did take 2 games, but fell short of 1, so that does affect his game-winning record, and it does put him a bit lower in the standings for now. Hopefully he can regain that sort of top 1 spot, or actually gain it. I don't think he earned it in the first place. But I mean, Slash, how do you feel about this next match you've got coming up here? It's going to be Helios, which I don't have on the board right now, taking on oooje.
I think it's going to be extremely interesting. Both of them are very new to our community, for at least the competitive community, and it'll be good to see what new ideas and new strategies they might bring along with them as in their premiere.
Right, and of course, we know what oooje is capable of from last season, but of course, Helios making his debut. It's certainly going to be exciting. So without further ado, folks, let's go ahead and jump right in to match number 1. Alright, folks, and welcome back to Casting Conflicts, the Battlefield Edition anyway, as we've got oooje taking on Helios, the newcomer to Casting Conflicts here. And as oooje brings out the Viking Pirate, we're going to see Warlock Viking from Helios. And Slash, who do you got in this matchup?
I don't know yet here, Red. I'm very excited to see, for the most part, 2 newcomers to the game. oooje only having been, I believe, in December of last year, joining our competitive community.
Right.
But Helios, this is his first match. I'm excited to see how differently he might play this. I mean, immediately, I think that Red Blue, you have Undead coming, and I think it's all going to be up in this first 5 turns. The match will be decided based on whether or not the oooje can get his token generators rolling.
I mean, he's already got one of them going right now here. You got the Hovel up in the top there, and provide a lot of global buffs in hand to support that. Armory and 2 fat bars, nothing to laugh at here. Against the Warlock deck, could be a bit troublesome. You know, Helios could be packing things like the Blue Firebolt in hand to provide an answer to the token generator or the buffs. But yeah, like you said, it's going to really be within like the first 5 turns, I think, because you know we're going to see the game really take shape and develop here. And already a Dark Bender off of a Maddie turn 3, that's got to be big for oooje.
I think this is a really, really scary position here for Helios, because especially when you start getting like 2 fat bards out or an armory and a fat bard out, as soon as those come out, you're generating a 3/3 per turn, and there's nothing that can really keep up with that.
Right. We'll see the Dragon Knight and the Lumberjack trade. Nothing much else, though. Kind of scary for Helios to be dealing with, especially after the Armory comes down. We're going to start to see these guys get a little bit stronger here. The 2/2 Rats move in, the 5/6 Dark Bender in the back there. And this is exactly what ooooje's deck, I think, wants to produce. I'm not sure if this is a Mystic Rat deck per se, but, I mean, it's good to have the Rat package anywhere in a Pirate deck. Nervous for him. I'm nervous for Helios.
I'm really, with seeing double Dragon Knight, that to tell me that it's a almost exclusively Raka deck. Simply because I mean I don't see any other reason to run that unless you're running some kind of dragon, which would be only he could also be running Reanimate, but I'm very scared because Rakanoth is very, very bad against rats when they get up and they start generating early in the game. Because you will never have the card advantage, and you'll never have the board possession, board advantage to get off a good Rakanoth, which can actually win you the game.
Right, and we're kind of seeing that take shape here a little bit here. I mean, the second Armory comes down on top of, you know, the existing one, the Rats coming out, the Guards as well, providing more just strong token buys. And I'm not sure Helios is going to be able to keep up with it, especially since they're all going to start to rush down here a bit. The Rats, the Guards moving aggressively, Dark Bender getting up, removing the Drake from the picture as well. It's a scary position for Helios, and I'm not sure he's going to walk away with Game 1 today. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. There are ways he might be able to get out of it. Obviously, Dragon's Fire could do something. Not a lot, but something, maybe? I don't know.
The next big scary thing that's about to happen... Yeah, there's the Dragon's Fire, but the scary thing that's about to happen here is that get an additional fat bard on the field, and you're no longer able to burn off rats with even a Dragon's Fire.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is correct. Hell, we can get both of them out now for feeling greedy. Or we're going to go for Matty Bard.
I think that Maddie is the correct play here because you don't have all the board control currently. Interesting that he's not going for Matty Bard.
Well, Blacksmith is only, well, yeah. He can still play either Matty or Bard. I mean, Blacksmith is just a nice generic global to have. I think that follows the pattern of the armories he's been playing. And look, he does play the Matty as well. He'll get a wizard off of that. And, yeah, I don't think Helios is coming back after this one. I mean, he's not playing super aggressively on the side of oooje, so we could see potentially... he could sneak in a Rakanoth maybe, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to help him out at all.
I think something like Freezing Pillar would save the game for him here and possibly even win him the match. It'd be so hard to clean up if you had full push that peasant he just moved forward, put down a Freezing Pillar, because then the units would start generating to it. If you have a second one that comes that nice pocket that you're looking for that's almost impossible to kill off.
Right. But looks like we don't have the Freezing Pillar. At least we didn't have the gold for it, so not going to see that play just yet here. We are positioning our units in a way that it looks like Helios is just trying to bait in a reanimate here. Just by the way he's keeping everything back. I mean, the peasants, the drakes, and looks like we're going to allow at least a 2-unit reanimate potentially here.
I think that the biggest threat here is something where you get a big freeze on the board and nothing can stop you finishing off with, say, 2 Rakanoths back to back, or say a Eternal Darkness, some of those big game ending cards. I think it's all going to depend on whether or not he has something like Generoth or Freezing Pillar that can just keep that tempo going for him.
I mean, he hasn't played a lot from his hand throughout the entire match. It's usually just been a card per turn. He's got a pretty hefty hand size to work with. Goes for the Mordok play, which will generate the Horseman. Unfortunately, not sniping off an armory, which I think he might have hoped for. He'll also make in some trades here. I assume Horseman might have to... Oh, he's going right in. Going right in for the Bard.
I would assume that Helios then is basically yelling at him, I have Dragon's Fire. I don't think, though, that it matters. I think that big wizard push is going to end the game. That it's going to be, you're going to have 17 damage on face immediately, plus that 6 damage. He has lethal here right now.
Oh, yeah. The Darkbender moves in, right? And the wizard just pushes up and ends it. Oh, no. Well, I mean... There's not much that you could really say about that. I think oooje deck operated perfectly in that scenario. Generating all the global buffs here and then getting the Darkbender off the Matty, the icing on the cake for, you know, oooje to kind of push back and not really be aggressive. Plus, potentially opening up for reanimates. It just wasn't working for him, I think, in match number 1.
Yeah. I think that was, as soon as you have an opponent who has +2/+2 on every single unit he plays, it's, unless you get rid of that or end the game very quickly after that, there's no way you can come back into a match after that. So well played from oooje that first.
Right. Let's go ahead and take you guys to the post-match and take a look at how that match went down. All right, folks, and of course back after match number 1, a very impactful one for oooje. Of course, a lot of global buffs coming out for him in the game, followed up by that Matty Darkbender. I think Helios just couldn't find answers to it, and despite having the possible reanimate in hand and the Rakanoth maybe in the wings, it just wasn't enough to clean up the game.
I really think that with the high roll on pulling the hovel early and high rolling on the Matty, it's very hard to stop a very strong push like that. Well done to oooje.
Right, so we'll see what game number 2, though, brings. Let's go ahead and jump into that one right now.
Match number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Of course, oooje running back to the same thing. His hand looking a little bit buffy, like the last one, but not in a good way, I think.
And we see the rack coming out immediately.
Oh, no.
It's going to be very hard to rush down something like this, but it does look like we're seeing a Beastly style no interaction, where how Beastly's talked quite a bit about how no interaction hard counters any type of buffs / rats that are played on the board. I think that's what Helios is going for here.
I mean, I think it has to be. We saw how effective no interaction was against any kind of rat variations in the previous matchup when we're talking about Beast versus Elensis. That went over very poorly for Alan in that case, but we'll see if maybe oooje can't fare a little bit better here. He goes for the Rat King early, forces the connection into the rider with the Rat King, so kind of foretelling that he doesn't have the journey. Loses the rat in the process, but generates 3 bodies that, without Flamestorm, are going to be a little tricky to get over, especially with the Fat Bard and Blacksmith sitting in hand in the wings here. Tarius Files comes out to block. That's good. That's good. Kind of foreshadowing maybe a Flamestorm.
Do you play Black here and hope to bait out some kind of burn so that way you can get Fat Bard Armory running?
Potentially, yeah. I feel like Blacksmith is a better play here. You don't want to give away, or you don't want to take damage against the Armory from something like a Flamestorm, since you can easily dodge it with from a Dragon's Fire. And we'll see these rats actually go ahead and push in here, kind of turning off the prospect of a Flamestorm, maybe, by getting rid of the Tarius Files. Sometimes it does tend to work out. Not sure if the Lumberjack is a great idea to push, because we're also going to lose that, probably, to a Flamestorm. Hell, this might be the motivation to kind of pull the trigger on Flamestorm, in my opinion. But we'll see if Helios decides to do it.
The good blue fire there. I think, though, that was actually good for oooje more than it was for Helios, and he's about to lose everything though to chain here, unfortunately.
He is indeed. Looks like we'll take a bit of damage here. Not the end of the world, though. Not the end of the world.
I think the rest of this match will be very, very tempo driven until Helios. He's going to be on the back foot, I think, for the next couple of turns. However, I mean, I don't think that's the play you wanted to make, because you're still trading poorly all in all.
Right. I don't like that Drain Life either. I feel like it maybe should have gone towards the units to help clean up a bit here, because now we can just remove the Questing Knight if we feel threatened by it. Yep, there goes the 5/2 unit. And now we can push in something like, you know, Dragon Knight, and hell, even hovel up in the back as well to be more of a nuisance. Yep, and there's the hovel. Oh.
I don't think hovel's going to doing too terribly much, because Helios is probably running a lot of both Dragon's Fires and Flamestorms. I will say, though, that is definitely not the target he was looking for that Knight Squad. That was probably the worst possible target for it to hit, was the enemy castle.
Right, I would say Castle and Drake are probably the two most, or the worst targets. Could have preferred anything else. Dragon Knight slowed the aggression down a bit, hovel to get rid of the generator, or Temple to turn off the chain buff. And then Armory comes out now. Yep. Ooh. Are we going to go Fat Bard as well? Just pour it on. Looks like we are. Yep. There it is. Dragon Knight comes down. Slaps 4 against face here. Rat runs up, potentially. I don't see why not. Yep. We're going to be aggressive with it. And then, of course, Fateful Drake follows suit.
If Helios has a double Flamestorm here, I think that would be very, very good for him. But it's still one of those where if he plays that, he's still going to be so behind in tempo that he may just simply die in the next couple of turns after that.
We will see. I mean, I'm liking the book straw that Helios is getting. It should be giving him some kind of gas to slow things down a bit for him. I know that's kind of the opposite of what we use the word gas for. But hey, blue fire hitting the Armory. That's a good start. Slowing things down a bit here. We'll get rid of the Dragon Knight. I assume going to follow up with something else, it looks like. Got 4 gold. What do we got? Okay, book into rat, so that's going to be a trade there. Horseman connects to the hovel. Okay. It's a little bit of a better interaction for the knight, but still not the best, because we do leave chain still on the board here.
I would say that's actually probably the best target he could have hit there, simply because now there's that 1 fewer unit on the board, and oooje is starting to run out of cards here in his hand. He's down to 3. Usually that's not the position you want to be at this late in the game.
But there's already also so much damage coming in on, you know, Helios' side. I don't think it's going to matter when it comes to having no cards. I mean, we could, if a Dragon's Fire hits the board here, that could be a huge game changer. But I'm not sure.
I think that's the game.
No, that's the game. Apparently, we didn't have anything to deal with those double bards. Because I'm about to say, you could have possibly seen a Dragon's Fire removing both bards, and thereby leaving the drakes at like 1 apiece. Maybe like a chaotic storm could clean it up, hopefully. But no, it looks like we didn't have any option to kind of get rid of the bards. So that does leave oooje with a solid 2-0 here to start off his season in casting conflicts. And overall, a very strong match for sure.
Very sure. To be fair to Helios, though, it was an uphill battle the entire time as he was running up against a classic green-blue rat-style deck.
Yeah, one that just kind of provided so many buffs and out-tempoed him, I think, nearly every step of the way. So, overall, just a solid matchup for oooje, and we'll take you guys to the post-match to show you how that match went down.
A very nice match here from oooje, where he proceeded to use a very, very strong Rat King play with a couple of buffs to trade extremely efficiently against Helios's units. Unfortunate for Helios, he didn't pull those Dragon Spires, he didn't pull those Flame Storms that he really needed to stop it, and congratulations to oooje on that successful victory and the quick play.
Right, and something to take note of too, Helios not running a no interaction deck like we predicted here, more of a night focus with the Luminaris tossed in and the Frog Prince as well, so that was kind of interesting. Didn't really pick up on that, obviously. We didn't get to see those late game night cards really make a big impact, and that's just because of, like we said, how fast oooje kind of got his stuff rolling. The Temple, I think, definitely a big play that kind of just ended Helios in a way. It's hard for me to say, but that's kind of the reality of what happened, I think, in that moment. But overall, I mean, solid match, solid performance from these two guys. Let's go ahead and take you guys to the post-match and see how both of the players are feeling after a 3-set series. Alright, folks, and welcome back. A solid performance for oooje to start off his casting conflicts. And overall, not a bad debut either for you, Helios. I know that you probably would have liked a win for your first appearance here. But hey, not a bad performance, I would say. I mean, how'd you feel going into debut here? I mean, possibly nervous? Any kind of things like that maybe affecting your gameplay a little bit?
No, I was hoping for some bowls, but they were not enough.
Yeah.
I didn't draw my global buffs in the first match, and then second, I was hoping for Flame Storms or Dragon's Fire. None appeared.
Yeah, and that kind of just, you know, did not do well in the face of scary global buffs, Fat Bard, Armory. Nothing really that we all like.
I was hoping my Knight deck would work because it has a lot of burns.
Oh, so that wasn't really no interaction. That was more Knight. Okay, all right, interesting.
Yeah, it had a lot of burns and also Knights for Lumi shenanigans.
Oh man, I wish we would kind of seen that. But hey, there are still to be, you know, there are more matches to be played. So I mean, hopefully we'll see that maybe later on. But on the other side of things, oooje, you did fairly well. You know, right back in where you left off here in season 1. Are you feeling pretty good?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll stay undefeated. That's
Is that the goal of the season?
That's the goal of the season.
All right. I mean, you got some tough competition down the road here, but I mean, I think if anyone can do it, you got a good shot at it. I mean, how'd you feel in the matchups? Did you feel like you had a strong edge? Did you feel like you were nervous going up against the colors here? I mean, obviously, once the global buff started to roll in your favor throughout both matches, I think, you know, it was pretty evident where the game was going. But, I mean, initially, were you feeling pretty nervous about the color lineups, or, you know, just talk to us about that?
The first game, I thought, like, just from seeing the starting hand, and from there, like, okay, I win. And the second game, I was more worried, because, as I said, burns all over.
Right.
And I thought it was a no interaction deck as well, but once I got stuff out, it started working out.
Yeah, certainly. Slash, you got anything for our competitors here? Either end of the bracket?
No, I mean, either of you walk in with some sort of to the other's deck, or was it simply a you saw what they had and said, I know what goes against that?
Is it just me, or I can't hear Slasher that well?
Yeah, I got the bit of it, though. I think he was meaning to say, like, you know, how did you guys feel in terms of, like, knowing each other's deck? How did you go into it? Like, did you prep for it specifically? Did you do anything like that? I think, hopefully I got that right from him.
Yeah, I added a bit extra burn, but we saw them.
I changed up my main deck towards So, like you probably saw, I had the Rat King in it, which is from my side deck.
Oh, interesting. Racking as the sideboard option.
Mhm.
That is something to kind of keep aware, maybe for you folks at home keeping track, because obviously we don't show sideboards here, so you never know. You never know what could be lurking in them. So
Yep.
hopefully, Slash, I got your question right.
You sure did. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of internet issues here, but I mean, well done by both players. Oooje, I look forward to seeing your next match and seeing if you stay undefeated. And Helios, I look forward to your comeback.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Arigato.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us for now, folks. We'll go ahead and take you to the leaderboard recap to show you where today's match and how, or to show you how today's match affects the scores.